Needing money won't attract it. Abraham, one of my greatest disappointments as I've worked to help people find greater financial success is that those who needed the money the most had the least success with what I was teaching them, while those who needed it the least seemed to have the most success with it. That always seemed backward to me. It seemed like those who needed it more would try harder, and eventually they should have succeeded.
Anyone who is in a place of lack, no matter how much action they offer, attracts more lack. In other words, the powerful feeling outweighs any action that they offer. Any action that's offered from a place of lack is always counterproductive. Those who were not feeling need were not in a place of lack, so their action was productive. Your experience was in absolute harmony with the law of attraction, as is every experience. There is not a shred of evidence anywhere in the universe that is to the contrary of this that we are speaking of.
Also, what I noticed was that, by and large, those people who hadn't achieved much success or weren't very interested in even hearing about achieving success were people who had been taught that to want money was evil or immoral, and that the best thing for them to do was to remain where they were, even though they were unfulfilled.
The reason that many reach a place where they say that they do not have desire is because they've wanted and wanted and wanted. But because they've not understood that every subject is two subjects, they've given more of their attention to the lack of what they have wanted than to what they want. And so they continue to attract the lack of what they want. And then eventually they were just worn down by it. As a person begins to associate wanting with not having, so much so that to want is an unpleasant experience, then he says, I no longer want, because every time I want something, I get myself in this place of discomfort. So it's easier for me to just not want in the first place.
What if a poor one doesn't feel poor? Well, if others who are noticing you and comparing you to themselves come to the conclusion that you're poor, but you don't feel poor, then you wouldn't be in a state of lack. And so you would be able to move quickly toward more abundance in that case, right?
That is correct. Others' assessment of you has no bearing on your point of attraction, unless you're bothered by their assessment. Comparing your experience to the experiences of others can amplify a feeling of lack within you if you come to the conclusion that they have succeeded more greatly than you have, and then you activate within yourself a feeling of being less than. Also, noticing a lack of prosperity in the experiences of others does not put you in a place of attracting greater prosperity for yourself, because you'll be getting what you think about. What you draw to you or keep from you has nothing to do with what anyone else is doing. An improved feeling of prosperity, even if your current reality does not justify the feeling, will always bring more prosperity to you. Paying attention to the way you feel about money is a much more productive activity than noticing how others are doing. Allowing more money to flow into your experience requires far less than most people understand. All that's required is that you achieve a vibrational balance in your own thoughts. If you want more money but you doubt you can achieve it, you're not in balance. If you want more money but you believe there's something wrong in having money, you're not in balance. If you want more money and you're angry at those who have more money, you're not in balance. When you're feeling those emotions of inadequacy, insecurity, jealousy, injustice, anger, and so on, your emotional guidance system is letting you know that you're out of alignment with your own desire. Most people make no effort in coming into personal alignment with the subject of money. Instead, they spend years, even lifetimes, pointing out perceived injustices, attempting to define the rightness or the wrongness of the subject, and even trying to put laws in place to orchestrate the flow of money in the civilization, when a rather small effort, in comparison with the impossible attempt at controlling those outside circumstances, would yield them an enormous return. Nothing is more important than that you feel good, for when you feel good, you are in harmony with your greater intent. Many believe that hard work and struggle are not only a requirement to achieve success, but that working hard and struggling long is a more honorable way of living life. Those hard times of struggle certainly do help you in the defining of what you desire, but until you release the feeling of struggle, what you desire cannot come into your experience. Often people feel as if they need to prove their worthiness, and that once that is accomplished, then and only then will rewards be given. But we want you to know that you're already worthy, and that proving yourselves worthy is not only not possible, but not necessary. What is necessary for you to receive the rewards or benefits that you seek is alignment with the essence of those benefits. You have to first bring yourself into vibrational alignment with the experience you wish to live. We know that words do not teach, and that our knowledge regarding the laws of the universe and of your value do not necessarily mean that now you've read our words that you know your value. However, as you consider the premises that we are laying out for you here, and as you begin the application of the processes that we're suggesting here, it's our knowing that the universe's response to your improved vibration will give you the evidence of the existence of these laws. It will not be long, and it will not require much deliberate application of what you're hearing here before you will be convinced of your own value and of your ability to create whatever you desire. The primary reason that people do not believe in their own value is because they often have not found a way to get what they want. So they incorrectly assume that someone outside of them does not approve and is somehow withholding the reward. That is never true. You are the creator of your experience. Make statements such as, I want to be the best that I can be. I want to do and have and live in a way that's in harmony with my idea of the greatest good. I want to harmonize physically here in this body with that which I believe to be the best or the good way of life. If you'll make those statements and then don't take action unless you feel good, you will always be moving upon the path in harmony with your idea of that which is good.
What is my financial abundance story?
A belief in lack is the reason that more people are not allowing themselves the financial abundance they desire. When you believe that there is a finite pile of abundance, and that there's not enough to go around, and so you feel injustice when someone has more than others, believing that because they have it, others are deprived of having it, you're holding yourself apart from abundance. It's not another's achievement of success that's responsible for your lack of achievement, but rather your negative comparison and your attention to the lack of your own desire. When you feel the negative emotion that you feel as you accuse others of injustice or of squandering wealth or hoarding, or when you simply believe that there's not enough to go around, you hold yourself in the position of denying your own improved condition. What anyone else has or does not have has nothing to do with you. The only thing that affects your experience is the way you utilize the non-physical energy with your thought. Your abundance or lack of it in your experience has nothing to do with what anyone else is doing or having. It has only to do with your perspective. It has only to do with your offering of thought. If you want your fortune to shift, you have to begin telling a different story. Many people criticize those who are living well, who accumulate land and money and things, and that criticism is symptomatic of their own lackful habit of thought. They want to feel better and often believe that if they can make that which they are unable to achieve wrong, then they will feel better. But they never do feel better because their attention to lack perpetuates lack everywhere they look. They would not feel uncomfortable in seeing someone else's achievement if that desire for achievement were not present within themselves as well. And that criticism that they often keep alive within themselves only serves to hold them in vibrational discord with what they want. In other words, if someone called you on the telephone and said, "Hello, you don't know me. I'm just calling to tell you that I will never call you again," you would not feel negative emotion about the caller's absence from your life because his presence was not something that you desired to begin with. But if someone you care about were to make that announcement to you, you would feel strong negative emotion because your desire and your belief would then be at odds. When you feel negative emotion about anything, it always means that you have a desire that has been born from your personal life experience that you are right now opposing with other thoughts. Vibrational discord is always the reason for negative emotion, and negative emotion is always guidance to help you redirect your thoughts to find vibrational alignment with who you really are and with your current desires.
What if the poor criticize the rich? Abraham, when I was a kid, I associated with poor people primarily, and we used to make fun of those who were wealthy. We criticized those who drove luxury cars, for instance. And so, as an adult, when it came time that I would like to have owned a Cadillac, I couldn't bring myself to drive one because I felt that people would now make fun of me as I'd made fun of the others. So I drove a Mercedes because years ago people kind of thought they were economy cars. But the only way I could bring myself to drive a Cadillac, which I finally did, was to bridge my thoughts by saying, well, by buying this car, I put all these people to work who put this car together. I created jobs for all the people who supplied the parts and the materials, the leather, the metal, the glass, and the craftsmen, and so on. And in that justification, then I was able to buy the car. So somehow I discovered a process of bridging my thoughts that helped me to allow that symbol of success into my experience.
Your process of bridging thoughts is an effective one. When you want to feel good and you gradually find increasingly better feeling thoughts, you're bringing yourself into alignment with your desire, and you're releasing the resistance that is preventing your improved conditions. Focusing on opposing opinions of others is never productive because it always causes discord within you, which also prevents your improved condition. There will always be others who disagree with you, and your attention to them will always cause you to vibrationally disagree with your own desires. Listen to your own guidance system by paying attention to how you're feeling in order to determine the appropriateness of your desires and behaviors. There will always be someone, no matter which side of any subject you choose, who does not harmonize with you. And that's why we speak so firmly and want so much for you to understand that your greatest endeavor is to find harmony with who you really are. If you would trust in yourself, if you could believe that through all that you've lived, you've come to a place of very strong knowing, and that you can trust the way you feel as your personal form of guidance about the appropriateness or inappropriateness of what you're contemplating doing, then you would utilize your guidance system in the way that it was really intended.
What if our money loses value? Abraham, in the past, our money was primarily coins, metal that had a value in and of itself. Like the $20 gold piece, the gold itself was worth $20, and the silver dollar had value. And so it seems simple to understand the value of the coin. But now our money in and of itself has no actual value. In other words, the paper and coins are essentially valueless. I've always appreciated the convenience of money as a way of exchanging goods and talents rather than trading, let's say, a chicken for a container of milk or for a basket of potatoes. But now our money is being artificially devalued, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to really understand the value of a dollar. In other words, it reminds me of my own searching for my own value, like how much is my talent worth, or how much should I ask for in exchange for the time and energy that I put forth. But now I'm learning from you that we don't have to consider our value in that way. We only have to consider what it is we want and then to allow it in. I'm aware that many people are feeling insecure about their financial future because they feel they don't have control over what may happen to the value of the dollar, because it's typically just a handful of people who seem to control or manipulate that. Many worry that there's going to be more inflation or even another depression. I'd like people to understand what you've been teaching us about the law of attraction so that they won't be concerned with things that are outside their control, like the value of the dollar.
You've hit upon something very essential here regarding the subject of money, because you're right, many of you are recognizing that the dollars today just are not worth what they were at one time. But that's another position of lack you very often stand firmly upon that keeps you from attracting the abundance that is yours. We'd like you to understand that the dollar and its assigned value is really not as important to your experience as you're believing, and that if you could put your attention upon what you're wanting in terms of being and then having and then doing, that all of the money or other means for bringing about what you want could then flow easily and much more effortlessly into your experience. We keep coming back to the same terminology. From your place of lack, you cannot attract its opposite. And so it really is a matter of adjusting your thinking so that your thinking harmonizes with what feels good to you. Every thought that you think vibrates, and it's by virtue of having that vibrating thought that you attract. When you think a thought of lack, that thought's vibrating at a place that is so alien to that which your inner being knows to be that your inner being cannot resonate with you at all. And the resulting feeling within you is one of negative emotion. When you think a thought of upliftment or abundance or well-being, those thoughts do harmonize with what your inner being knows to be. And under those conditions, you're filled with a feeling of positive emotion. You can trust that the way you feel is the indicator about which side of the subject that you're on. Whether it's the subject of money or lack of it, or health or lack of it, or relationship or lack of it, always when you feel good, you're in the place of attracting what you are wanting.